Hey y'all, welcome back to Enum Claw Self-Reliance here, and figure I'd take a minute on this Sunday, April 19th, just so y'all kind of know about what part of the year we're in. Make a little more of a homemade video for you. Good buddy Tim Denner's working on some composting and some other videos we're going to be posting out there soon, but I'm going to kind of give you an update on our other garden beds outside the prototype bed, because we're actually going to be pulling that silage tarp off today and kind of show you what our plan is there, and kind of give you an update on what's growing in our little backyard greenhouse here, and because we kind of got some stuff that's a little overdue for getting in the ground, but it'll still work, and so come along and check it out. So we got our little batch of broccoli plants. They could actually be out in the garden already. They're a little more cold friendly. We got some more of the warm loving stuff like the squash and things like that kind of planted in seed now. And then just kind of a variety of all sorts of different stuff. We got some beets and onions and just kind of what we like to eat. That's what you should be growing. We kind of got our little batch of flowers over here. We plant a lot of these marigolds just kind of throughout the garden. A lot of pests don't care for those. One thing I wanted to touch on is just kind of, you need to kind of watch things as they grow. Out here we got a lot of the shorter variety here is San Marzano plum tomatoes. And then we got some couple batches of cherry tomatoes. These are early girl tomatoes. This is what Grandma always grew in her garden. I've actually had pretty good luck. I use them for canning kind of stewed tomato and things like that. But you can see kind of where we've come along here and kind of trimmed off some lower branches. They were kind of looking a little, I don't want to say sickly, but you could tell they weren't loving life quite as much. Tomatoes actually like a good amount of little airflow through them, so we came through and kind of cut some of those lower branches. They don't need to have all of them, and these you'll actually see later in the season. We'll train them to grow up actually a trellis wire, and it'll be kind of cool, And then we got our tomato intensive care unit over here. Now this guy, he was actually just planted. He was a little runt of the litter, but you can actually plant them a little deep. You can cut a couple lower branches off, and those little hairs that you see kind of growing off the side, those will actually become roots. So you can actually, when we plant some of these, we'll probably bury 2-3 inches of that stem, even though it's in a pretty big sized pot. So tomatoes, they like some airflow, but you can actually plant them pretty deep and they'll get a really good root system going on. But we're going to step out here and show you what we're doing with the silage tarp and how we're getting ready to get all this stuff growing and out in the ground. Well, we got that tarp pulled back. You can see there's not a crazy amount, but a good amount of weeds have popped up. Now they germinated because that tarp was keeping them nice and warm, but then they couldn't get any sunlight, so they kind of do something like this little guy here. They just kind of end up blanching out. Another good thing about this tarp coming up is you get a lot of our little friends coming up here. We love seeing those guys in the garden. Now we're getting to that point where we're kind of past worrying about frost as much. April 20th I think is the date for Enum Claw. So we're going to give this a little bit of rake. We have some rain in the forecast, and you might be thinking, well, I thought you had this on to keep them dry. Well, we did, but we're getting to that point where we got to just start doing some things, and we're going to bank on some of that rain coming in and watering any of the weeds left in here that haven't kind of blanched out and died. And then we're going to come through and do one more step of weed prevention. We're actually going to take a flame weeder and just kind of zap everything. You don't have to go crazy with it, and if you do use it at your own risk. You are using a giant torch on the end of a stick essentially. But things are this is about to what we're hoping. I think next year we're going to try to put that tarp on earlier. We just made the beds this year, so we're a little bit behind, but all in all, pretty happy with this. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and keep gardening, everybody, and just have yourself one heck of a day.